Hey, good afternoon, Trani friends, and welcome to this week's edition of Patio Ponderings. I'm Pastor Sue, and today I'm joining you from the deck of my home. It's a little overcast and cloudy and a little breezy. I think we're expecting some rain tonight, but it is it's really pleasant to sit outside here today. So, what have I been thinking about this week? So in worship, on Sunday, we moved on to our next reading in Revelation, and it was a two-part reading. The first part was this kind of dark, mysterious, scary vision of what we call the four horsemen of the apocalypse who ride out of the scroll to wreak death and destruction and havoc on the world. But then we saw this amazing vision of those who have come out of the hardship, all dressed in gleaming white robes surrounding the throne of God. Their tears are wiped dry and their suffering and pain is no more. So the things I've been specifically thinking about this week come from this second vision, this vision of hope. And there's two different images here that caught my attention. So the first is that the people dressed in white are described as having washed their robes white in the Lamb's blood. Think about that. We cannot make something white by washing it in blood, okay? Kind of doesn't make sense, right? And the second one is of the Lamb who is now going to be the shepherd of the people. Aren't lambs usually the ones that are shepherded? Again, doesn't quite make sense that a lamb is the shepherd. So both of these images are what we call paradoxes, right? And I love this definition of a paradox. It's a statement that seems self-contradictory or even absurd, but in reality conveys a truth. And I think that this definition defines very well what these two images are. They are self-contradictory images, but there's a great truth in them. They describe who Jesus is and how Jesus works in the world in a way that simple sentences couldn't do. And this is something I think the book of Revelation as a whole does really well. We talked about how this book uses word pictures to create these images of who God is and God's work in the world, who Jesus is, in ways that a simple vocabulary could never do. So yeah, we're looking at these paradoxes of who God is. God defies definition. God defies our capacity for understanding. God transcends our English language and our brain's capabilities. And that just keeps playing on the same theme that we've been exploring throughout Revelation and is a continuation of what we talked about last week in Patio Ponderings, that God is just so much bigger, so much more, so much mysterious, so much more sacred, so much more holy than we can really put our arms around or that we can define. So what I wanted to think about with you this week in particular, though, is as we are beginning to move into this political season, coming up on a major election here in about 3 months, I am hearing again, this is not new unfortunately, I'm hearing again the ideas from different people on different issues that certain issues, certain political parties, and even our national identity somehow encapsulates God. So in other words, we hear it like this. If you are a Christian, then you need to vote this way on this this issue. If you are a Christian, if you're a follower of Jesus, you need to belong to this political party. Or to be a patriot is to be Christian. I've even seen the conflating of those two things. We call that Christian nationalism. It's not a helpful trend. And so I'm thinking about, with our understanding or our lack of understanding of who God is, how do we as followers of Jesus navigate this language that we're hearing, navigate these movements, navigate these attempts by people, by organizations, even by some churches, to reduce God to an issue or to a party or to a national identity? What are we supposed to do with that? Because I think anytime we do that, we make God smaller. To try and stuff God into that political box makes God way too small. It also defies what I think is one of the ultimate paradoxes about who God is, because God is so much greater than any political movement or party. God is so much greater even than just one particular nation. Our God is the God of the universe. Our God is the creator of everything, from our planet to our solar system to the infinite galaxies in our existence. And yet God is the one who comes to us in human form as Jesus Christ, as a human being, to be in intimate relationship with us. Isn't that the most mind-blowing paradox? That God is this universal God and also this very intimately related God to us, who cares about each one of us, especially those who are marginalized, the poor, the hungry, the sick. I think that's the God we have to keep in mind as we move through these next few months. This is the God that is going to defy all the political thoughts about where God belongs in our political process. What do you think? Have you heard the language? Have you heard those things about where you need to be and how you need to vote? And what would Jesus do in these things? Have you heard it? What have you thought about it? As always, I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd like to know, where have you experienced God as a paradox? There's a good question. As always, let me know what you're thinking about, what you are pondering. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you Sunday. Bye.